Hey everybody, welcome back to the next episode of Into the Overhead. This is take 2. Josh asked what happened to this and why we came up with this, and I reminded him that he did it on episode 1. It just kind of stuck.
I don't remember that conversation.
Of course you don't. Anyway, if you guys think this is silly, we don't, so who cares?
Yeah, we're going to keep doing it if you think it's silly. So I'm Josh, this is Dean. We're not switching places today. We are joined today by none other than the internet famous
Ryan Beauchamp!
that was a little much.
Why?
I hope the audio didn't clip too bad for you guys. But yeah.
NOAA News 2022.
Ryan posted a video online on YouTube that was, let's say, a little controversial. Ryan took his son to Volusia Blue Springs, which, you know, depending on who you talk to, is considered an overhead environment, especially depending on which part of the boil that you're in. And it generated a lot of negative chatter and a lot of bullying. There was some positive stuff too, of course, but this incident has sort of followed Ryan for a little bit, and we think it's time to talk about it and just sort of move forward as a community. So this is Into the Overhead's attempt to resolve the situation.
Or at least give our opinions and maybe possibly educate not only Ryan, but some other people out there who think or may think that going into that type of environment is safe for a 10-year-old. There's been some comments. I put a post up with a picture of some, I call it cave graffiti. I don't know if it was actually in a cave outside daylight zone or in an overhead at all, but it was underwater in a spring, and that's no place for graffiti in my opinion. I asked whoever did it, please feel free to message me privately so you're not outing themselves publicly. And Ryan had a big enough set on him to come out publicly and say, hey, you know, it was me and I didn't know any better. I think that's what you wrote, right, Ryan? Right. And there was a bunch of people that said, oh, come on, this is crazy. It's just algae. And that still remains to be seen. Ryan still claims that it's just a finger written through algae. It looks to me like it's too sharp of a line. I'm waiting for someone to actually go down and say, yes, it's just, you know, algae rubbed off with a finger.
I felt the same. So unless it was like a fingernail, the lines do look pretty sharp for it to be a finger. Doesn't mean it wasn't.
It was my fingernail.
But
Yep. And even when you're doing a proper pull and glide in cave diving, you see little pieces of particulate sometimes come off the limestone. That means that piece of limestone just got a tiny, tiny, tiny bit smaller. So doing that with even your finger, that can be bad. But even more so for all the people that started getting a little bit butthurt, dare I say, that I was over-exaggerating and making a big deal out of nothing. Just a few moments ago before we started rolling, Ryan admitted that he saw a bunch of graffiti down there, so he thought it was okay. Hey, monkey see, monkey do. So I want to put a stop to the fact that seeing it done doesn't make it right or legal or fair.
Right.
So, but before we get into all that, Ryan, thank you for coming out. Thank you for sitting with us. Thank you for outing yourself and realizing that what you did may not have been the best thing to do, and stepping up. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So let's start with the video. Tell us a little bit about where you were and what you actually filmed, and also why you decided to post it.
Okay, so my son had just got certified. I have been certified for some time. We've been working our way up to Blue Springs. My kid kind of is a little bit claustrophobic, doesn't like the dark environments. So after a lot of times of visiting, he wanted to go with me. So I took him to Blue Springs, and there's a boil that goes down to 60 feet that's considered open water. Then from the boil, it becomes a cavern to 120 feet, which is a cave that you cannot enter. So for some reason that day, I thought it would be okay for my son to go, I think it was 34 feet on the video. But all multiple depths in that, from 34 to 10 feet, on his own set of scuba gear, and go have fun in the cavern zone with my light. Blue Springs had just recently did no check-ins, which, to be honest, I will go to Blue Springs almost every weekend. I asked the rangers why they did no check-ins. Even I thought we should at least be signing paper or something, letting them know that we're down there and we agree to the rules, but they stopped all check-ins. So I thought it was okay to bring my 10-year-old there. I videotaped it primarily to get my family and friends to watch it. Didn't expect it to go worldwide. Didn't expect people to notice. Didn't think I was giving people the ideas to come down there and it's okay to try that. Like I said, I didn't put it into perspective so much. I just thought, hey man, it's just a video, it's okay. But at the same time, I'm inspiring others to do that. And I don't want anybody to go in that type of environment and get hurt, and basically because it's on my fault from posting the video. So I did unlist a lot of my videos, and I'm trying to do more videos, posting the rules and following the rules. And because like I said, I like diving every day. I want to continue to do it, and especially get some advice from the people who have done it before me and continue to do it after me.
Cool. So you said you've been certified for some time. When did you get your open water certification?
I got my open water certification November of last year, so 11 months ago.
Cool. How many dives do you have total to date? Post training?
200.
That's a lot for 11 months.
I got 4 tanks, and I go to Blue Springs every weekend. I dive 4 tanks.
Okay. Is that 200 including, for our viewers and our listeners, they may or may not know that Ryan also has a part-time job where he cleans boats. Is that counting those as well?
That is not counting those boats.
So there's even more on top of that, work-related, but not deep enough that you're not counting them.
Correct. I figure a dive is not considered a dive unless you're over 15 feet, in my opinion.
And most agencies call 20 for 20. In my opinion, and I'm a full cave instructor, it's your logbook. Log what you want, you know? Yeah. If you want to call it a dive, some people can't get to that kind of depths a lot of times, you know? But some people say you shouldn't log training dives. I log my training dives. Why? Because not only am I responsible for myself, I'm responsible for up to 2, 3, 4 people at a time. So, but yeah, your logbook, log whatever you want. Are you trained in anything other than open water or just open water?
I did my open water first with one instructor. He was very thorough with me, very by the book, 100%. There was other classmates that took a long time. Then I decided to switch instructors and get somebody to go a little faster. And I did my advanced, my nitrox, my rescue, back to back right after that.
Okay, so with nitrox
March.
and rescue and 200 dives, so you're now considered a master diver.
If I submit the paperwork correct.
You need 5 specialties. He's a PADI diver, so you have to have 5 specialties.
I got them.
Plus your 100 dives. You have 5
I got the 5
specialties?
specialties with the advanced.
No. So with your advanced, just for everybody that's listening at home, you do 5 specialty dives. But to be a master diver for PADI, you need 5 specialty cards. So you have to actually take the full specialty for 5 different ones.
So one of the things that Patty does is you want an AOW card. You can basically get an AOW in a weekend by doing a couple of dives one day and a couple of dives another day. But you're not doing like an entire rec course. You're just basically touching into the rec class. So you're getting a little bit of exposure, what percentage I don't know, but a little bit of exposure to several specialties, which makes you AOW, but you don't actually have those specialty certifications.
And this brings us to a point specifically that I think you and I even talked about where how it changes your depth limits. So you're required to do a deep dive as part of your AOW. Deep and navigation are required dives. The other 3 specialties you get to choose from those. But just because PADI or even the other agencies require you to do a deep dive for advanced does not actually certify you as a deep diver to those depths.
Right. The only cert you get is just advanced open water.
You still need the training.
Okay. Cool. So AOW, rescue, nitrox, 200 dives. Going back from where you started till now, have you gotten any training that you're not happy with at this point?
That I'm not happy with?
Yeah, that you, I mean, obviously you weren't happy that the first open water instructor took too long or took longer than you would have liked, so you went to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that you have had proper training? Let me ask you that instead.
I think my first instructor gave me the proper training. I think my next instructor, I kind of rushed through it. I did a lot of research before. Before every class I took, I actually watched a YouTube video and learned every exercise before I even got in the water. So I kind of knew what I was expecting. So I think I pretty much learned everything of the basics, I would hope.
Okay, you said you watch YouTube videos before each class.
Correct.
Did you actually watch YouTube PADI videos?
Yes.
So on PADI's YouTube channel?
On PADI's, no. So the way YouTube's going now, I love diving. I joined all the Facebook diving groups automatically. I pretty much go on YouTube. I look for other scuba divers. I join their channels. I look and see who they're subscribed to. to pretty much reach out to I like watching everything, but you can see others who do PADI courses and videotape their training. So I was watching some of those videos. There's our people who tell you exactly what to expect in PADI videos, and there are PADI instructors that are making YouTube videos that show each and every technique you're gonna learn in the class. Okay. And then, like I said, that's only until you get to rescue and master diver, and then all that free information stops. Like where I'm trying to go now is I'm trying to advance farther, and I'm realizing there is no YouTube videos. It's really hard to learn anything going into the technical side.
Okay, moving forward, please keep in mind that not only are not all instructors equal, all agencies aren't equal either. So just because you see something online, you don't know if it's the right way, the wrong way, halfway, midway, you don't know. Right. You don't know who it was. Unless you know the person and you have experience diving with them or have heard that they're worthwhile, you're pretty much just throwing a dart at a dartboard hoping to look at something that's going to be educational in the right direction.
As a side note, like you said, a lot of the technical diving skills aren't available on YouTube, and that's just, because they're dangerous.
Because people do what you did. Yeah.
We don't want to give people the idea that you've watched this YouTube video and you've seen somebody build a rebreather, as an example, since we were talking about this last night on our live stream. Well, I saw him build a rebreather, so therefore I can follow his video, build my rebreather, and now it's totally safe for me
watch
to
another video of someone diving a rebreather, now I can do it.
Now go dive it, which is absolutely not the case. So, it's really just a safety thing. It's not so much a thing like that people just don't want to make the videos. It's not a good idea.
I've put up video sections of like lost line drill and lost buddy drill, but I don't put the whole video. And people ask me, hey, what happened to the rest of the video? I said, well, that's in your personal class, I'm not going to put a whole video out and let people think that they can go and use that video as training, because it's not. So,
out of curiosity, right? This isn't me trying to put you on the spot. I'm just curious. You got your nitrox through PADI as well, which through PADI is called enriched air nitrox is their class. Do you take the time to determine what your best mix would be before you do a dive and what your mod is? And
yes,
do you know how
so
to do those things?
Since I own a boat hull cleaning company, I'm in my scuba shop very, very, very frequently, 3-4 times a week, and I watch this owner of the scuba shop fill my tanks. So I'm watching his process. If I had to, I could probably do it. But I always ask for the right mix. I always watch how he's mixing it. And like I said, for the depths of Blue Springs, it's 115 feet. I usually like to run 32%.
It's 115 feet and you run what?
32.
Okay, what's the MOD for 32%?
I believe it's 115. 118, somewhere right around that. For 1.6. 1.4, 1.6, what?
Well, all right, here's a good question.
That's another question.
What do you dive to? Do you dive at 1.4 or 1.6 or 1.5?
I put my watch at 1.6.
So 1.6 is for the resting portion of a dive. If you're going to be so really it's you don't do deco and you should not be doing deco, but it's more of a deco PPO2. It's an absolute upper limit, right? 1.4 and below is really for the working portion of the dive, which is you swimming. And you may think, hey, I'm in the bottom of this cavern, I'm not working because I'm chilling, but you've got things like that vent down there that will, push you up. Water. And now you're suddenly having to have this like instant, muscle reaction to fight your way out of that flow. So 1.6 is most definitely too high for safety reasons to be down there. Even if you're just chilling, like I said, because there's the potential for you to go have to work hard to fight the flow. That's what I'm trying to say for Blue Springs. Definitely I wouldn't do 1.6 unless you're on deco, which again, you're not trained for deco, so you shouldn't be doing deco.
Do you know what the negative output of oxygen toxicity is?
No.
You convulse. What happens when you convulse? You can't control your jaw. What happens when you can't control your jaw? You spit your egg out and die because you drown. So 1.6, like Josh just said, should only be used for deco. If there are divers out there that disagree with me, that's totally fine. Please understand this is just my opinion. All right? I've been tech diving and deco diving for 9 years now, and I never, ever figure anything higher than 1.4 for my swimming part of the dive.
Same.
I swim at 1.4 and I deco at 1.6. So
mod for 32 is 111 at 1.4 and it's 130 at 1.6. So really, even if you didn't want to do 1.6, you're down there below the maximum operating depth for 1.4. So you're forced to 1.49 or 1.5, whatever the case is anyway.
So either that information got in your head from watching videos or poor instruction. Not sure which, but...
And like you said, you take 4 tanks with you, so I mean you're pushing your oxygen toxicity limits. I don't know what your OTUs are going to be just off the conversation we're having here, but it's just as bad to have too much oxygen as it is to have too much nitrogen.
I mean, I got my dive log with me if you want to look at something.
Nope. Definitely do not. This is not about what you've done in the past, other than this one episode we're talking about. It's just hopefully to help enlighten you and other viewers about actually quite a few things.
Proper training,
proper education.
Said training.
Right, exactly. And also this is hopefully going to help enlighten people about internet bullying and attacking people for doing stuff. And did I want to address you? Absolutely. Did I want to attack you? No. That's why I said, hey, send me a private PM. Nobody else needs to know about this. It doesn't need to be public. So hopefully we can help shed some light and educate some people against doing that also.
Okay.
So talking about the bullying thing, did you get any messages from people, unsolicited messages from people?
When that video was posted, it's a very weird story. I woke up in the morning, and like I said, I've always used to post my videos. I don't get comments that much. And I was woke up in the morning with my girlfriend, and
2,300 comments.
Yeah. I had like literally 22 comments on my video, and I was like, that's very odd. And I'm a fan of Dive Talk. I've been watching Dive Talk before I was diving. I'm going through YouTube, and I see a picture of my son on their video, and I put two and two together, and I'm like, holy cow, they posted me on their videos. And then the comments, some positive from family trying to be positive, and then I had a lot of people getting the negative, basically trying to contact DCF and CPS and call the cops on me, death threats, I'm gonna die. When they see me, they're gonna kill me. They're gonna ban me from my dive shop. I actually had people call my dive shop in multiple states. They've contacted my dive shop in multiple states to have my dive shop talk to me.
Did your dive shop talk to you?
Kind of, sort of.
I think I saw something online that he was blackballed. Were you blackballed from the shop?
No, never.
Okay, good.
Never be blackballed from the shop. Like I said, I own a company. I'm in the dive shop all the time. All the time.
Okay, super. So people responded to this, and what was your first thought? Like, what did you think when you woke up and you started reading all these comments about,
I'm famous! Right?
It wasn't the more I'm famous thing. It was the more I was upset that they painted it how it looks, because in the video it does kind of look pretty bad. And I thought in that situation I thought we were a little bit more experienced and we could have handled the situation. I didn't expect the whole world to see it.
Okay, well, the whole world still hasn't seen it, luckily. and you've now unlisted it, correct?
I didn't unlist the original video because Dive Talk reacted to it, so I figure if they're going to watch it, they could still watch it. But I did delist a lot of my other videos that were completely nobody should be doing if you're not trained.
Awesome. So just by the way you're responding today, it sounds like you've already learned a lot in the past. When did this start? 2 days ago? Day before yesterday?
Yeah, Saturday, I believe.
Yeah. So 3-4 days ago. Okay, but either way, so that's awesome. That's really cool. And your son is 10.
Correct.
So he's a junior open water diver with Patty as well?
Correct.
Okay. Has he done any other training since?
Nothing.
Okay. Is he allowed to do any training since with Patty?
There are some little add-on courses, but like I said, they're pricey, and I don't think that he's going that route. I'm actually waiting for him to get 12 so he can get his advance. He wants to go spearfishing, so I can't take him spearfishing really at 40 feet. I'm trying to get him into the 60-foot range, so I'd have to wait for him to be 12. But actually, from all the attention, my son is 10. This is his channel in the future. He reads a lot of those comments. He was very upset from what people were saying, and he immediately, Dad, I want to do my cavern, immediately. He's like, I want to prove to these people that I can go in there safely, it's possible, I can do it. And I was like, okay. And he wanted to say, come live on camera, but I'm not going to let my 10-year-old try to explain himself to camera to you guys. So I just kind of like, I'm going to go talk to him. This is actually helping us because we have people reaching out saying, hey, we're going to show you how to do it so you don't get hurt. So that's why I took the time to come meet you guys today and learn some new stuff that I don't know, because like I said, I don't know everything. I've only been doing this for about a year.
Without question, there are the people that find and comment on these videos simply to be scuba police because they got nothing better to do. But there are legitimate concerns, not specifically, or I should say, not just over your safety and your kids' safety, but also access to our dive sites. And you've probably heard this 1,000 times by now, but I heard a rumor, and you can confirm or deny if you want to, that you were considering doing Eagle's Nest,
Yes.
aka the Mount Everest of cave diving.
Yep.
So, as an anecdotal thing, I almost said Everest was closed. Eagle's Nest has been closed to diving more than once. And on one occasion, it was closed for several years, specifically because people died there, and so it got closed down. And it took, cave divers from our community lobbying the FWC to reopen it. And as a matter of fact, I'm sure somebody told you that just a couple of years ago, a father and son duo, not unlike yourself, even similar in age.
I mentioned it to him. Yeah.
Died on Christmas
I watched the
Day.
videos.
Or because of the scuba tank that they had got, and they went into Eagle's Nest and got lost and drowned. So certainly we don't want that for you, and we certainly don't want that for us either.
And a silly little thing, they did their family stuff Christmas morning, and they both gave each other gifts for Christmas that were scuba related. Hey, let's go check out a new gear. And the normal watering hole that they normally went to, a tree had fallen and blocked their road. So, hey, let's go to Eagle's Nest real quick. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine until it's not.
I have 128 or 29 cave dives, and I have not been to Eagle's Nest.
I have a lot more than that, and I have not been to Eagle's Nest.
Well, I'm not ready for Eagle's Nest. That's why I'm saying it. I don't feel that I'm prepared to be at Eagle's Nest. It's just too advanced of a cave for what I want to do. That's just my personal opinion. That may not be the case for everybody. I understand that, but I don't think I'm ready. So it just, it was mind blowing when I heard that, you were thinking about going to Eagle's Nest. I know you've been educated since then, and so you're like, wow, good thing I didn't do that.
Well, yeah, that's what changed my mindset, really, because when I went to Beaufort, I met the guys that were open water at Eagle's Nest. So, my first reaction was, hey, man, how was it? You did it. I'm going to go do it next week. And they were like, no, don't do it. There's nothing to see. We got lucky. And being that they were pretty much like me, kind of just go all out, I listened to them. So, and then like I said, though, just from listening to myself, how I was thinking, hey, I can do it if they did it. That's how it made me kind of fall back on all of my videos and what I'm posting, because it's giving people ideas just like that.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was Mark you talked to, right? Mark's
Correct.
a friend of the channel. We're
Yeah,
working with Mark on some
Mark
stuff.
Haggerty, yep.
But he's also actually, I almost said victim. He's been the victim, if you will, of a Dive Talk reaction video of them at Eagle's Nest. So that's probably why they were
Standing on the mound.
I have heard lots of stories of open water classes going to Eagle's Nest, or open water divers going to Eagle's Nest. And Eagle's Nest is, if you folks don't know, Eagle's Nest is the type of dive that it really shouldn't even be a cavern dive. So cavern restrictions, 200 linear feet and daylight zone. And by the time you get to the bottom of the bowl and go down a chimney that's only one person at a time, and get to the top of, or just the bottom of that chimney is 135, right? So that's beyond recreational limits. I've heard the top of the debris pile is 165, and the bottom debris pile is like 235 or 240. It is definitely not a dive that should be taken lightly.
Right.
So,
Even intro to cave divers are not allowed in a place that you cannot go side by side. Restrictions in which you cannot go side by side.
correct.
That's a TDI.
Two divers have to pass same time.
And if you can't even enter said cave side by side, and then that's not an intro diver or intro to cave diver place, which means it's most certainly not a caverns diver's place, which means it's most certainly not an open water diver's place.
I think it should be full cave only.
I think it should be full cave and trimix only.
Yeah.
Which
Well, no, you don't necessarily have
I
to have
think it should be
trimix,
on
but
trimix.
personal opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't been there yet, so I'm not sure of exact depths. I might agree with you once I get there, but if anybody watching or listening wants to take me to Eagle's Nest, let's go. I'm ready.
I'm not. Well, let me finish my wander and get trimix and get like 200 more dives.
And 200 more dives. Awesome. Cool.
No, I'll be ready once I get trimix on the CCR, I think.
So, Ryan, the other day you and I were chatting online, and you weren't sure why your son is limited in the way that he's limited at 10 years old for doing certain things. I don't know if you've seen more stuff or exposed more stuff. Do you still feel the same way, or are you okay with accepting the fact that agencies are here for safety of divers, and 10 is probably a little soon to do much more than open water at a certain depth.
Yeah, I actually looked into classes for my son, and I did find out that there are some other agencies that do some things with children younger. One being nitrox. I think I looked up yesterday that now he does junior nitrox at 10.
Okay.
Patty, you have to wait till you're 12, I believe, or 15, one of the two. But the more I think about it now is I've only been diving for a year. I am going pretty fast. Maybe I should just work on the basics and just take it slow, because it's a very expensive sport. I mean, I'm not in too much of a rush, but I definitely don't want anything to happen to my son. So I want to take it slow, make sure he knows what he's doing, so he's safe.
Okay, so you said before about 200 dives you have?
Yes.
Have you had, I asked this of a lot of people, have you had your first oh shit moment? You know, like that one moment where after the dive was over, you look back like, wow, if I didn't do that perfectly, I would have died.
No. No.
Then slow down.
I've had some times where I've became dizzy underwater, but I just close my eyes and think of happy moments, and it overcomes that. I've had some close moments like that, but never really came close to anything I thought that I was really going to get hurt from.
And maybe that's the problem, right? Because that, you know, it's I don't want to say that you have this invincibility thing going on, but if you continue to push limits and you don't suffer the consequences of those limits, you're going to push a limit that you won't be able to come back from. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So it's better to have that oh shit moment sooner. Not that we want to have oh shit moments, of course, but it's better to have it sooner so you can learn from it and understand that you do have limitations in your abilities that you should, you know, expand through training with an instructor, not on your own, than it is to cross a line like going to Eagle's Nest as an open water diver that you may not be able to come back from.
Having issues underwater is unavoidable. It's going to happen. Sooner or later, I promise you. Surviving when that stuff goes wrong is what training and practice is about. So some people think that practice makes perfect. I don't believe that. I think that perfect practice makes perfect, or proper practice makes perfect. But if you're practicing something you saw on YouTube that was done by someone who doesn't know what they're doing, you're just ingraining bad habits. That's all you're really doing. So, cool. So what's next on your viewfinder? What are you looking towards next?
So, like I said, I'm kind of maxed out at my shop. My shop doesn't offer me anything above where I'm at. So as much as I didn't want to do the caves, I was talking more with Mark. I'm a big guy, that's why I'm scared of tight spaces. I thought all caves were tight spaces.
We hear this a lot.
And
Jackson Blue Springs Cavern is like 5 or 6 times the size of my house.
yeah, so the more I'm thinking about it, I kind of do want to get into it. Like I said, the only reason I like going in the caves is it's crystal clear water and I can see. And it's a really nice thing other than going in the ocean where it's murky and nasty.
Cool. And obviously your son is already interested in cavern diving.
Correct. You got to be 15. I assume you know that.
Correct.
All right, it's 18 or 15 with parental consent, which
correct.
Presumably you would provide since he wants to get that training. But
correct, and he's got 5 years to start practicing, so he's no rush, and he could change his mind in the 5 years. So
is it fair to say that if we or somebody were to cavern train you, you wouldn't take him in cavern just because you're certified? Would you? Sure. You're willing to admit that you wouldn't do that, right?
Correct. Like for the record, I didn't really consider Blue Springs cavern for my son. The more I do think about it, it's an overhead environment. He shouldn't be in there. It's very dangerous.
Did I show you that video of me at Blue Springs crawling out of that hole under one of those ledges?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was about, that's like 20 or 30 feet. So, you know, it's just one of those things, and we'll probably play it here with if our editor.
Yeah, break here, and cut to where he asked, and then show the video of Josh that we'll send you.
So there's plenty of little tunnels under these ledges that you can't really. I don't want to say you can't see, but they seem like they're innocuous until you stick your head in there, and then you start saying, "Oh wow, this goes back a little ways, right?" And then you get 20, 30 feet back there, and you realize that it turns a corner, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now you got to back out. You know. You know, and for me, I had a line. I've got cave training, so me backing out into no viz is not really an issue. But in my head, I have a 9-year-old myself, so I'm thinking, how much further could my 10-year-old squeeze into that hole? And I know it's significantly further than I could. And what would he do if, when he started to back out, he realized that he had blown the visibility behind him? Because typically, when you blow the visibility, it happens behind you, right? So you're continuing to get clear water until you're like, this was fun. Let's turn around and get out. And then you turn around and you're like, oh boy. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was one of my fears when I saw that video.
Yeah, no, like I said, my son is a little claustrophobic. I didn't just throw him down the Blue Springs. At first, he was scared to go down there. But like I said, after so many times of us going there, he got comfortable. And he's very comfortable. Like I said, he still hasn't really been in any caves or anything like that. He doesn't know. He's just by videos.
Who was the kid with no fins? That wasn't yours, right?
No, that was...
you don't have to name names because we don't...
I'm not going to put his name because he did ask to be private, but he is an open water diver. He had just got certified for a week, and he knew that I was bringing my son, so he brought his son.
Is his kid certified?
No.
He had an uncertified child?
Uncertified 12-year-old, yes.
Father-son, Christmas Day, the son wasn't even open water.
Yep. I will tell you this, he did pay for his training, and he starts Friday for his open water.
Cool.
After the video.
At least he's getting certified.
Yeah, he's getting certified and getting the correct way.
So I guess it wasn't underwater, but I guess technically that video was your first moment. your first big learning experience that I need to change, I need to do something different.
People do care what kind of diving I do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't really think people were lurking up my videos and watching them like that and could potentially get the idea from that.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe it wouldn't have been Dive Talk to do a React video. Maybe somebody else just surfing the web would have found that, oh, look, a 10-year-old can go in there. Cool, I'm going to take my kid.
Correct.
So it can be very sketch.
I don't want to put it out on Blue Springs too much. You can bring a child there. They have a nice river run in the back, but in that area, it's not suitable for a child. You can definitely go to the Boyle, and it's about a quarter-mile river run that's 5 to 15 feet with plenty of fish.
Yeah, it was right, a quarter mile.
It's about a quarter-mile river run. Like I said, it's a long walk with your gear. No electric bikes. Long walk with your gear, you get to float back. And like I say, every weekend I did 4 tanks. That's why I feel very comfortable there.
Now, okay, do you do 4 tanks Saturday, or do you do 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday, or do you 4 Saturday, 4
I do 4
Sunday?
in one day usually, or 3 in one day.
And then you don't come back the next day?
And then I don't come back the next day. I go
day?
once a week usually, if I can.
Dude, 200 dives in 11 months is
a lot of
that's
dives.
a fair number.
And I went, my father lives in St. Martin, so I go out the country a lot. I've done a couple of boat dives over there too in different waters. I've been offshore in Daytona. I go spearfishing. I'm going spearfishing tomorrow, actually trying to go tomorrow, if not tomorrow, this weekend. But I'm constantly diving along with working in the water.
So you get bit by the bug. I know when I first started, I got my water certification. The first year I did 278 dives.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, man. It's just, I've done a lot of things in my life, a lot of different jobs. The only ones that stick with me is communications, and I'm waking up every day wanting to dive. Those are the only 2 feelings I have every morning.
Cool. Let's summarize from you what this experience taught you.
Well, you watch the divers diving in caves and it doesn't look dangerous. So by me learning more, I don't know, just opened my eyes a lot. Today, this is a dangerous sport. People can get hurt doing this. As much as I thought I knew everything, there's people that started right where I was that know a lot more, that are like laughing like this guy's gonna die and get hurt. And the more I acted like I knew what I was talking about, the more I was pushing away the good people that wanted to help me. So I learned kind of to bite the bullet, admit I was wrong, admit that I can change, and try to offer help or get help from the people offering it who know what they're talking about.
Cool.
And I think with that, this is Into the Overhead's mandate to you to let's let it go, right? Let's move on as a community.
Well, we can't mandate.
Oh, no, we don't have any control, but I'm telling you to freaking do it anyway.
I will say, I
Guys.
certainly hope that everybody watching, everybody listening, anybody that had any negative thoughts or comments or anything about Ryan, he does seem very remorseful. He seems to want to do better, want to be safer for him and his son. Hopefully we can just chalk this up to I don't want to say a mistake, because I personally feel a mistake is something that you do wrong and don't learn from. Hope we can just call it a learning experience.
Correct. And like I said, I continue to plan on diving, so most of the people leaving me the comments, I might run into them someday, because I plan on diving, and I probably most definitely will run into a lot of you guys.
You likely will, especially the people on the Facebook.
Correct.
And if once you enter the tech world, you may be surprised at actually how small the cave diving community is. You know, of course we're worldwide, but we're a pretty small community. People, especially when you're
Small.
we're political too. So when your name gets out there in a bad way in the cave diving community, it sits around for a hot minute. Go ahead.
Real quick story. I was on a trip in Honduras, I guess 4 or 5 years ago now, and I think in 2017 and 2017. In the airport on the way home, they paged me on the overhead for some reason. I walk up to the counter and go back to my seat, and as I'm walking and about to sit down, somebody walks over, "Hey, you're Dean Umschneider?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey," and introduced himself. I'm like, "Okay." He says, "Yeah, I've heard about you. I know it." I'm like, "All right." So it is a very, very small community.
Yep, happens to me too.
Huge.
I mean, it only happened to him once. It's happened to me at least 7 times. So that should tell you all you need to know about the difference between Josh Underwood and
I'm just this
Dean
little tiny person.
Dean Schnitzel. You're taller than me, but also like proverbially smaller than me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your ego is way too big. Your head is
I'm
gigantic.
I'm very humble. Possibly more humble than anyone.
Really?
Yes.
You think so?
I'm the humblest.
Really?
Is that a word, humblest?
Did you take a class on that? Because that instructor should be shot.
I taught the class on humblestness.
Humblessness.
Humblessness. Yeah.
Okay, but not on English.
Yeah, I literally had my buddy call me yesterday and say he walked into his dive shop in New York, and they were watching the video of me. He was like, "That's my buddy."
What dive shop in New York?
I'm not sure. I didn't ask him, but he literally had said, "Man, I walked in the dive shop and you were on their YouTube video watching you." I was like, "Wow."
Is that a good thing?
Overnight fame, I guess.
Yes.
Or
Capitalize.
overnight infamousness.
Bad publicity is
Infamousness.
still publicity. Hopefully we can learn and move on.
Head on over to 10yearoldDivesBlueSprings.com to buy your Blue Springs merch today. Oh man. So listen, I'm good. Are you good?
I'm good. I am.
Slightly shorter episode than what we're normally used to, but I think we both feel like this issue's been beaten like a dead horse for
Yep.
sure. But again, we wanted to address specifically the bullying, that it's absolutely not necessary, and make sure that Ryan had a chance to say, "Look, guys, I did it. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do better in the future. Whatever bridges I burned, hopefully we can rebuild, because I want the training so I can do better for himself and for his child." So we've established that. And I think that's good enough for me.
Hopefully everybody just can move on.
Yeah, for sure. Move on or move out.
You have anything else you want to say, Ryan, before we close out?
No, that is it. Like I said, be mindful with the comments. That channel is going to be my 10-year-old's. He does watch and read all the comments you guys write. So, yeah.
Cool. Then I'll take the closing if you don't mind, Josh.
I would love that.
I'm Dean Olmschneider. This is Josh Underwood. Ryan Beauchamp was our guest. Thanks again for joining us on this episode of Into the Overhead. And don't forget to dive as if you want to see your son tomorrow.